James, we've talked about sales. We're going to continue talking about that. But if I'm interviewing a salesperson, okay, for one of my businesses or perhaps one of my clients' businesses, what is the key component? What's the key factor that I'm looking for in a salesperson, and in a salesperson that's going to be effective, efficient, and bring value to my company?
Well, two things to remember. First is, and this is a little tongue in cheek, how much damage could a bad salesperson do to your company?
Significant.
How about four in a row?
Well, then your company
Done.
probably is gone.
Right. So let's start with that I was a recruiter. I recruited only salespeople for just about 2 decades. And prior to that, with different companies, and to this date, I still recruit salespeople to work with me on different projects. Occasionally, I meet people who are exceptionally skilled, they're gifted, they have the talents we're looking for. The other end of that extreme are the people who have no idea what they're talking about, but believe they make a good salesperson. So over time, I've actually developed a series of test questions that allow me to identify the skill sets we're looking for. And I kid you not, we're still looking for people of good character, but there is one primary skill set we are looking for in a salesperson. And it's harder and harder to find. We're looking for their ability to listen. Now, this gets fun because typically in an interview, if I was interviewing someone on your behalf, say, Mark, you come to me tomorrow and go, James, we've been friends for a long time. I want you to screen this person as a salesperson. I wouldn't charge you because we're friends. If you come to me as a complete stranger, I do have a set rate for that activity because my time and talents are worth something. But I would do, say, a 90-minute interview with a salesperson. At the end of the 90 minutes, I would ask a single question, and I watch for their reaction as much as their answer. And the question is this: what have you learned about me in the last 90 minutes? You and I have talked for 90 minutes and you've learned nothing, you'll never make it as a salesperson. If, on the other hand, you recognize it as a question, you see that little tightening around the eyes when the brain kicks in, and they go, well, I noticed that when I walked in the door you did this, and they catalog everything you did for the last 90 minutes, give that person a desk. They deserve to work for you as a salesperson because they will go out and understand your client. I get approached by salespeople regularly who want to sell me something. I interact with salespeople all the time. I'm also a consumer. It stuns me how bad are the assumptions people make because they don't listen. This morning I got approached through LinkedIn. A complete stranger approached me, wanted to link in with me. My standard approach is, you want to link in with me? You want to add to your contact list? I like to add to mine. By all means, let's link in together. Then it was the series of stupid perfunctory questions. Where do you live? What do you do? And then it's, are you interested in X? My response was, no, I'm not. Now, I have good reasons for not wanting to be involved in that particular industry, but no means no. Now, she went on then to explain to me why I really need to be doing this. My response again was, I have no interest. Again, sales pitch, no listening. My final response was, do you have a brain injury, or are you intellectually challenged in some way because you can't seem to listen? Now, the fact that we don't listen to everybody in our lives is a common thread. If you're out there listening, ask your spouse if you listen to her or him. The answer will be an honest no. Why don't we listen to the most important people in our lives? Because we're with them all the time. We start to take them for granted. But if you don't listen to your customer, how are you going to meet their needs? How are you going to find what they want? How are you going to know when you can sell them and when you can't? And really, if you're listening to them, you can tailor your approach, your definition, your description of how the product can be used to meet their needs. This applies to individuals recruiting people as well. If you came to me tomorrow and wanted to recruit me to work for your firm, you'd have to make a very compelling reason for me to come work for you. Is that fair?
Right. That's right.
Okay. A few months ago, I was approached by a gentleman who thought I should come work for his insurance company. I have nothing against insurance. I think it's a necessary product. The offer he made me was ridiculously bad. And at one point during his presentation to me, to suggest that I could do really well selling insurance, he goes, last year I was able to make enough money to spend a week at Emma Lake in a campground. It was really nice to be at the lake every morning. I said, okay, that's lovely. I have a lakefront cabin at Emma. I spend all summer at the lake. Why would I want to downgrade my lifestyle and income to match your needs?
Right.
And he just stared at me like, I don't understand. Go away, right? The other thing I want to stress, if you're not listening, and if you're not prepared to accept no as an answer, you're not a salesperson.
Hmm.
Customers have the right to say no, and you should respect that. But I like to teach my sales guys to understand the skills so they understand why the customer said no. Because if
Yeah.
you understand why they said no, you can still do business down the road. You may, in fact, guide them to the product that is right for them, even if it's not from you. But you can only do that if you listened and you understood. Last thing I'm going to say on this is if you can't accept no as an answer, society has a very definite definition of men who do not accept no for an answer. And I don't see the difference between that and not taking no from a customer. In fact, if you worked for me and I got a complaint from a customer saying you wouldn't take no for an answer, you tried to browbeat them, you tried to pressure them into a sale, I would give you a nice recommendation letter and tell you to go sell timeshares because you wouldn't work for me anymore.
And it's absolutely critical to have the right salespeople.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, we have.
It's critical in all aspects of your business, but your sales team is actually the face of your business. Now, does that mean they're going to be perfect? No. But if they will listen to your customers, they're also one of the greatest sources of market knowledge you will ever get. Your marketing department should be nice to your sales team at all times, but often they're completely different elements.
And that's another topic that we hopefully will get into later. That's very critical. Market intelligence, boots on the ground, ears on the street. That is, to my mind, that's absolutely critical.
Just real quick on that, some of the most successful businessmen I know will always talk to a salesperson who walks through their door. And I asked one of them one time, well, you're always glad to see me. He goes, you know what's going on to my neighbors. I don't.
Bingo.